The disappearance of 15-year-old Candice Parchment ended in tragedy, and her killer had seemingly vanished without a trace. Despite the police's best efforts, the case went cold. That is, until her diary was discovered. Candice Parchment was just like any other 15-year-old, with dreams of becoming a writer and a passion for music and poetry. But there was something else that set her apart: her obsession with her diary. In its pages, she poured out her deepest fears, her wildest dreams, and her most closely guarded secrets. It was a place of refuge for her. Candice's family had recently migrated from Jamaica to the U.S., seeking a better future. With a fresh start in a new country, she and her family moved to Forest Park, a small city on the outskirts of Atlanta, Georgia. Candice quickly adapted to life in America and quickly made a name for herself at Forest Park High School. She became one of the most popular students. It seemed like nothing could stand in the way of Candice's success. But tragically, everything changed. On the late afternoon of April 28, 2010, Candice left her home without a word to her mother. Candice had always been extremely close to her mother, which made her sudden departure all the more perplexing. Her mother tried repeatedly to contact her, but all attempts to reach Candice went unanswered. After 6 long hours of waiting and growing concern, Candice's mother finally contacted Clayton County police to report her daughter missing. Despite sending messages and posting on her Facebook wall, there was no response. Nothing. As the hours ticked by and the search for the missing teenager intensified, the question on everyone's mind remained: why did Candice leave home that day, and where could she be? While the concerns of her family and friends grew, the police dismissed it as just another teenage runaway case. They even made comments suggesting that girls like this always do things like this, and girls like her run away a lot. At the time, the police were receiving an average of 30 to 40 runaway reports per month, and it is estimated that 1.5 million children run away from home each year. So for the police, Candice was just another runaway. But despite the lack of urgency from the law enforcement, Candice's loved ones remained committed to finding her. On the same day that Candice was reported missing, her mother received a text message from Candice's phone claiming that she was okay and had gone to Tennessee. This message was concerning for Candice's mother, as it was uncharacteristic of her daughter. There was no apparent reason why she would run off to Tennessee. There was no known problems at the home, and she had no money or possessions with her. Her family and friends were left to wonder what could have happened to the beloved 15-year-old. As the days turned to weeks, their concern deepened. After 35 days, the detectives finally decided to follow up on a mysterious text message that had been sent from Candice's phone. By filling out a subpoena request for her phone records, they hoped to unravel the truth behind her disappearance. But their efforts were met with a roadblock. The phone company failed to respond to their request. The mystery deepened with each passing day. Was Candice a victim of an abduction or trafficking? Was there someone she knew who had something to do with her disappearance? On a dreary November day in 2010, a call came in that would shatter the hopes of finding Candice alive. Men searching for scrap stumbled upon a gruesome discovery: the decomposed remains of a human body laying in a nearby wooded area. The police raced to the scene, and hidden beneath a discarded mattress in a wooded path was the remains of a human body. There was no way to identify it at first, but investigators believed they might have found Candice. They used the clothing found near the remains to try to positively identify the body, and when they showed the clothing to her mother, she immediately recognized it, and their worst fears were confirmed. The body belonged to Candice Parchment. The medical examiner's report revealed a brutal truth. Candice Parchment had been stabbed in the chest. No one was ruled out as a suspect, but as the days turned to weeks and weeks turned to months, the leads dried up and the suspects were cleared. There was very little evidence to help police find her killer. The scene offered very few clues, and the case went cold. Investigators had been tirelessly searching for leads for a whole year until one day they finally received the phone call that would change everything. On October 18, 2011, Candice's mother was packing up her belongings when she stumbled upon her daughter's diary. As she flipped through the pages, she came across a bone-chilling entry that would give the police the breakthrough they needed to catch Candice's killer. Dated January 5th, 2010, titled, "A Frightening Experience. I snuck out of the house to meet 2 friends. Well, not really friends, but people I talked to. Both were guys. I went walking down the road. It was dark. There was an abandoned house where one of my schoolmates used to live. Jermaine and Marche had set me up to go to the house. So at the moment, I wasn't thinking. In the house, it was dark. Only light I had was my phone light. Jermaine hit me on the head with a rack. At first, I thought it was an accident. It wasn't. Marche was blocking a door so I couldn't get out. I tried to make up excuses, but they didn't care. Jermaine grabbed me and choked me. I was struggling for air. "Please let me go," I said. I tried to get away. My pants unzipped. Really, I was scared. They tried to take my phone. I put up a fight and they couldn't get it. A few minutes later, we seen a car light in front of the abandoned house. I was so excited, yet scared. They let me go. They panicked and begged me not to tell. Candice's mother remembers that day vividly, the day that changed everything. Candice had always been a good girl, so when she snuck out of the house without telling anyone, it set off alarm bells in her mother's head. As soon as she noticed her daughter was missing, she immediately went looking for her. She was frantically driving around the neighborhood searching for her daughter. As soon as she pulled into the driveway of an abandoned house, she started to see Candice rushing out. Her daughter's face was etched with fear and pain. Candice revealed to her mother that she had been attacked, but refused to name the name of her attacker or report the crime to the police. It was a decision that would prove fatal. As she read through her daughter's diary, a chilling realization began to set in. The names Marche and Jermaine jumped at her from the pages, haunting her with the question of who they were and what they had done to her daughter. With trembling hands, she reached for the phone and dialed the detectives. Months of frustration and dead ends melted away as the contents of the diary became the break in the case they had been searching for. Who were Marche and Jermaine? Marche Hickman lived right next door to where Candice's body was found. He was no stranger to Candice, as they both attended Forest Park High School together. Jermaine Robinson, on the other hand, he didn't attend the same school, but he ran in the same circle as Marche. They were just neighborhood kids. But why would someone so close to Candice be responsible for her murder? Was the attempted rape the motive for this chilling crime? Could the two incidents even be connected? They were the haunting questions that investigators were left grappling with. After Candice's mom turned over the diary to the police, they discovered that Marche was already in the Clayton County jail for a burglary charge. When questioned about Candice, he didn't deny his involvement. In fact, he implicated himself in both her attempted rape and murder. He confessed to killing Candice. The police have finally found their suspect, but the question remained: what drove Marche to commit such a heinous act? The detectives also brought Jermaine Robinson in for questioning, who revealed a bone-chilling truth. Marche had confessed to him about killing Candice. It was all because of the attempted assault that Candice wrote about in her diary. Marche was terrified that Candice would tell other people about what happened, so he devised a twisted plan to silence her forever. The shocking truth was finally revealed. Marche had been stalking Candice as she walked home. Lurking in the shadows of the dark wooden path, without warning, he grabbed her from behind in a chokehold, lifting her feet completely off the ground. Candice struggled and fought, but Marche's grip was just too tight. She went limp, her lifeless body falling to the ground. Marche wasn't content with just killing Candice. He wanted to ensure that no one would ever find her body, so he placed a mattress on top of her and left her there, hidden from view. Over the next several months, he returned to the spot repeatedly just to make sure that no one had discovered his gruesome secret. While there was evidence that Candice had also been stabbed, Marche only confessed to strangling her. The community was left to grapple with the terrifying realization that a killer had been living among them all along. The tragic story of Candice Parchment is one that will never be forgotten. Her life was cut short in a brutal and senseless act of violence, leaving her family, friends, and community reeling in shock and disbelief. But even in death, Candice's diary proved to be her voice, providing the crucial evidence that would lead to her killer's arrest and conviction. While justice may have been served in this case, the scars left behind by Candice's tragic death will never fully heal. Her family and friends will always remember her as the bright, promising young woman she was, and her story will continue to inspire others to speak out against senseless acts of violence.